Let's add an event listener to the next button, this build cone. If we find it in HTML, there's the button and it has ID set to build, so we can get a hold of that button. I'm going to do this up here in the add listeners function because we want to add that listener after the page loads. So document.getElement by ID, and the element I want is the button with ID set to build, and I'm going to add an event listener. Now I also want it to respond to the click event, so my first parameter is going to be click, the string click, and the second one is going to be a function. Now up until now we have used the name of a function and then found that named function somewhere else. Another way you can do is, what needs to be here is a function. We can do what's called an anonymous function, and instead of using a name here, we can actually write the entire function here. So I can say function, and it does not need a name. That makes it anonymous. It's a function without a name, and I can just write it here, and I put the opening and curly closing braces, and now inside here is the body of the function. I can write any JavaScript code that I want in there. Notice how this works. The first argument is the click string, and that identifies that this event listener is going to respond to the click event. The second argument is a function, and in fact it is a function with no name, and the entire function is the argument, and after the function is the closing parenthesis that identifies the end of that function call. Inside this function, we want to gather the values here, add them up, and then report what the cone is going to look like. So we've already done all of this. I'm simply going to copy paste it up here into this function. Now we've got the total scoops and they've been parse floated, and we're going to simply write to that description, and I'm going to write a message that includes the string the cone has, and I'm going to put the variable total scoops plus a string space scoops, there is space, the number of vanilla scoops, the word vanilla and a comma, the number of chocolate scoops, the word chocolate and a comma, and the number of strawberry scoops and the strawberry scoops. So here you see that I'm making one long string and I'm using variables inside that string. Let's go see what happens over here. We refresh the page. That function is not called. It sits there waiting until the click event happens on this particular button. What does it do? It gathers the values, it adds them up and reports. The cone has 0 scoops, 0 vanilla, 0 chocolate, and 0 strawberry. Let's go ahead and add values and click it, and there it reports out the values that it got from the user.